special coverage dedicated to remembering the life and legacy of the late Ratan Tata continues. It's been a somber full day for the country as Mr. Tata, the revered patriarch of Tata Sons and a towering figure in the Indian business sector, passed away last night in Mumbai. In fact, under his leadership, TCS and Tata Motors and several other companies from the Tata conglomerate reached new heights and many others went global. However, as you must have also heard through the day, beyond his business achievements, Ratan Tata was known for his humility, philanthropy and a deep sense of responsibility towards the India growth story. And to take the discussion forward, I'm now joined by R Gopalakrishnan, who is the former executive director of Tata Sons, on the lasting impact that the business tycoon had on India. He's also captured India's heart. Sir, thanks very much for joining us here on ET Now. We're speaking of a man who decided to tend to his ailing dog instead of going to the United Kingdom, where he was scheduled to be felicitated by the then Prince, who's now King Charles. How would you like to remember him and, of course, his legacy, and also talk to us about the kind of impact that he'd had on your leadership?
I'd like to remember him as a rare leader who was so genuine that he did what he thought was right with humanity and sensitivity. That's very rare. That's how I'd like to remember him. More than applaud him for all his business decisions and acumen, which of course he deserves, don't get me wrong. I think his distinctive point was his humane approach, what I've called ibadat, inayat and insaniyat.
Indeed, sir, and that's something that's been echoing everywhere. But for quite a while, I believe that you and Mr. Tata were neighbors in Colaba. So what are some of your earliest memories of your interactions with the legend?
Well, we neighbors. There are lots of people who have been neighbors of Mr. Tata. Mr. Soonawala also stays not far from him. So that is incidental. I mean, I've been to his house. He has been to my house once or twice, or in somebody else's house. But my memory of Mr. Tata is initially when I joined in the 90s, I recall him as being a shy, not very forthcoming person, you know. But gradually, as the demands of his role as the chairman increased, he stepped up to the plate and has become the icon that he has become. So it is very interesting to see that he was my boss. So of course I could see it from the side, but it is very impressive.
Absolutely, sir. And the most interesting part is that despite the heft that his surname carried, taking control of things wasn't really a cakewalk for him. So that's interesting to note here. So the question is, how did the mild-mannered Mr. Tata handle the satraps from Rusi Modi to Darbari Seth and even Ajit Kerkar, amongst others?
I really don't know firsthand, because I do know he has told me many stories, and there are many in the company anyway, about how these problems came to him, and they were not problems he could run away from. But I have likened his challenge to what Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel must have faced in 1947. You know, each state wants to do its own thing, and India would be broken up, and that was not acceptable to him. So once his niyat was clear, niyat being what is your real strategic intent, I think he started to put the little jigsaw pieces together. So how can I achieve the niyat so that this group doesn't break up? It would have been very easy for the group to break up, and you know, many family businesses, though I don't regard Tata as a family business, but many family businesses split. But that has not happened in Tata, partly because there are not too many family members, but also partly because the spirit of Tata, the Tata way, if I may use that expression, is what binds Tata together. Tata is a mini India. You can logically find a lot of reasons why India should not exist, but you can also emotionally expect why India should exist. And Tata is exactly like that. Why should a steel company with a hotel company, with a information processing company, a chemical company sit with a chips company? No management academic can write a book on it. But as you can see from the book behind me, Jamshedji Tata, Lessons for Corporate Success, we have chronicled how Tata managed to do this.
Right, sir. Very interesting analogy that you've used here of mini India, but it was really the way Mr. Tata handled getting together all diverse businesses. That really was his skill and was his talent. But sir, let me also go to the point that you mentioned about, family-run businesses, because we mostly see in the business fraternity the idea of my business should only be run by my family. That runs strong. But he was somebody who didn't really mix business with family and didn't really attach that sense of belonging to any of his businesses. So what have been your learnings from the late stalwart? And of course, if you could throw some light on how he ran his businesses, and of course, how that feeling of ownership didn't really come about.
I think it's very important. Since you asked what are the lessons you have learned, you have to separate uh, who runs the business from how the business is to be run. For how the business is to be run, you need a set of values. And many people define those values in terms of their community or their, some people have said Zoroastrian, this is a Zoroastrian company. Some people call it a westernized company. Other companies are called Marwadi companies or Gujarati companies or Jain companies. Tata has always looked upon itself as a humanistic company. It's about insaniyat. Now, once the how is clear, then automatically it says that whoever can handle the humanistic role best, along with the commercial role, this is not all about a fuddy-duddy teddy bear company. You have to combine the humanism with you have to combine effectiveness with efficiency. And then it doesn't matter, as it so happens, that's a fate of nature, that there were not too many family members. I don't know what it would have happened if everybody had 5 sons, but that was not the case. And so I suppose in some ways it made it a bit easier.
Yes, sir. In fact, the way you say that intent, right? Intent was a cornerstone of Mr. Tata's leadership while he was at the helm of affairs. But I feel compelled to note that in contrast with his four predecessors who helmed the Tata Group from 1868 to 1992, all of whom died abroad, he breathed his last in Mumbai. How would you describe his relationship with the city?
Of love. I mean, he was born here. He was the first of them who was born here. Jamshedji Tata was born in Navsari. So was Dorabji Tata. I'm not sure where Saklatwala was born. JRD Tata was born in France. Ratan Tata was born in Bombay, bred in Bombay, studied here, went abroad to study, came back here. So I'm not saying he loved Bombay more than JRD or Jamshedji, because Bombay has been the Janma Bhumi, Karma Bhumi, and therefore it is Maran Bhumi also for him. You see, in the case of the other previous four chairmen, either because of health reasons or natural travel, they happened to be abroad. Jamshedji Tata got a certain health problem when he was 62, and so he went away to Germany to get it treated, and then he died there. Dorabji Tata died of cancer, and he also went abroad, and he also died there. And Nauroji Saklatwala died suddenly out of a heart attack when he was traveling on business outside. And JRD Tata also died, but that was in Paris. Ratan Tata is a product of Bombay. He loved Bombay and had never, he might have died abroad, but as it so happens, he is an Amchi Mumbai Mulga.
Okay, sir, and one final question before we let you go. What do you think can be a befitting farewell to the man who will take his legacy forward? Because many are now wondering about succession plans for the company going forward in the absence of such a larger-than-life personality.
These are all matters of how you look at it. Only 30 years ago, people said, how will JRD, who's larger than life, how can Ratan Tata ever deliver? Ratan Tata was scoffed at. So I think we tend to look at the exit image of a successful leader with the entry image of a new leader. And that's the fundamental mistake. It's the lens we use to look at the leader that is wrong. In my view, he has chosen a successor, at least in Tata Sons. Tata Trust, I think there is some decision yet to be made. And the roles of the trust and the commercial entity have been separated. I think his greatest legacy is that he has behaved like a relay race runner, not like a marathon runner. This is not a race that he was running on his own. He was carrying the baton, which he had taken from his predecessor, and he was determined to improve that baton before handing it over to successor, which he has done. So I think that's his great legacy. Thinking, acting, and playing like a marathon, not like a 100-meter sprint runner, but like a relay race runner.
Right, sir. So definitely large shoes to fill. But the way Mr. Tata led his life and ran his businesses, I believe that that will also take care of this decision as well. On that note, thank you very much, sir, for taking the time out and speaking with ET Now.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.